Hey guys, how are you today? I'm Connie Fuchsa with Foot Title Group, and this is Coffee with Connie. Today I wanted to talk to you a little bit about if you have a home equity loan, how that is affected when you sell your home. I'm sorry, let me adjust this just a teeny bit. I have a little different setup today than I usually do. So first, let me say thanks so much for tuning in. I appreciate your time. I understand how valuable it is. And if you're on the replay, thank you so much for watching as well. I realize not everybody can watch live because you're off getting things going in the morning with your kids getting to school or getting to work, and I understand that. But I really appreciate all of your time tuning in, and also all the feedback. It is really important to me to hear the things that matter to you, the things that you don't understand, the things you want more information about. So please keep that good information coming. That helps me a whole lot understand how to tailor messages so they get the best information to you. So as I said, I'm Connie Fuchsa with Foot Title Group, where we protect your home ownership. I wanted to talk to you this morning a little bit about home equity loans. So a lot of times I talk to the buyer and how the closing process or the real estate process affects the buyer. Good morning, Pam. How are you today? But today I wanted to talk about the some things that the seller has to deal with. And one of those happens to be if you have a home equity loan, what do you do? And a lot of people, let me clarify by saying a lot of people don't even understand when they take out an equity line with their bank that it's actually secured against their home. And why does that matter? Well, when you go to do any additional, if you own your home and you're selling it or you're refinancing it, and you go to do anything with that home, that equity line needs to be addressed because it is secured against that property. And if you are refinancing, any lender who is going to loan you money to refinance your home is going to require some documentation be done about that second mortgage or that equity line. So when you're borrowing money from your bank, make sure that you understand if it's a large amount of money, typically the bank's going to want something to secure that loan. So whether it's a car loan or it's secured against your home, it's something that's going to need to be addressed when you refinance or sell. So if you sell your home, that equity line has to be paid off and released from that property. So don't be surprised when you have an equity line. Hey there, Jim. How are you? Hey, Kathy. Hey, Wendy. How are you this morning? Thank you guys all for tuning in. So if you went out and took out an equity line, say you wanted to buy a boat, or you wanted to pay for some college for your child, or you wanted to do some home improvements to your house, or you wanted to buy a car, and you went to your bank and said, I want to borrow some money because I want to do these things, and the bank said, fine, you can certainly borrow that money, but we have to secure it against something. And a lot of times we find that people, when they come to closing, don't understand that that loan that they took out to buy their car, they're paying for. It may not be a car loan. It may be secured against your home. And as such, in order to sell that property, it's going to have to be paid off and it's going to have to be released from the property. And so unfortunately, it may be a little bit uncomfortable when we get the title order and we ask you as the seller, how many loans do you have on the property, what the information is so we can pay those loans off. And a lot of people don't realize that that equity line or that loan that they've borrowed to maybe buy their boat or buy a car or do some home improvements is actually secured against your home. So even though you're making the payments, you may not understand that it's not a loan that's secured by something else or that it's secured by your home. And when we talk to you about the loans that are secured against your property and what needs to be addressed with those, a lot of times we find that people don't realize that those loans are secured against their home and as such need to be paid off. And it causes a little bit of uncomfort because people may not realize that they have to do that, and it may not be in their organization about what their finances are going to look like. So it may affect some things on the other end, maybe if they're buying something else, because they may not have as much cash when they walk away from the closing table because they've had to pay off this equity line. So if you've borrowed money to buy something significant in price, typically the bank's not going to make a secured loan for $5,000 or less, but typically if you get over that amount, and different banks have different rules, and I don't, as I've said before, don't assume to know all of the rules, but I'm just trying to give you some information to make you aware. If you've taken out a loan to do some of these types of things, you need to think about before you sell, make sure that you understand what that process is going to look like, because you want to make sure you don't short yourself on the other end. If you're selling a house and you're maybe buying another house locally or buying another house down the road, you want to make sure that you understand all of the pieces and what has to be paid off, because it'll take a chunk out of your money if you want to put that equity into something else. So think about and talk to your bank, because that bank that you've borrowed that money from, they may be willing, if you purchased a large ticket item, a boat, a car, those types of things, they may be willing to move that security interest to that vehicle or to that boat. If you've borrowed that money to finance college education for a child, there's no other significant thing to secure that against. So you may have to pay it off, release that loan, and then with the equity out of your home, and then borrow it again against your new home. That may be an option. But it's something that I just am giving you some information, so maybe there's a flag, so you're thinking about. Hey, Karen, how are you today? Thank you for your kind words. I appreciate it. Hey, Mimi, how are you today? Thank you guys so much for tuning in. So as I always try to do, I want to give you some information to think about, because I don't do all of the pieces of the puzzle when it comes to buying a piece of property or selling a piece of property. But we've been doing it for a long time, and I have some information about it. And I just want to give you some ideas and some thoughts, so you're thinking about some things, so you don't end up having confusion when you actually get ready to buy or sell that piece of property. So hopefully that helps you understand a little bit about that. That loan may not, in your mind, be called a home equity loan, but when that is, you're borrowing that money and they've secured it against your property, it most certainly is secured by the equity in your property and will need to be paid off when you refinance or you sell that property. And if you refinance, that lender is going to, you may not have to pay it off, you may just have to do some documentation with that lender that you borrowed that equity money from to be able to keep that there, but you're going to have to do some additional paperwork to keep that in line in the right place. So just a little bit of tidbit this morning. I wanted to cut back the time that I talked to you, because I didn't want to make it so difficult for some people to watch, because it's a long broadcast. So hopefully that gave you some good information. The one thing I do want you to do is, if you like this information and you want more resources, our website is a great place to get publications, all types of different resources that you may need if you're buying or selling, or if you're a realtor or a lender. There's also closing cost calculators. There's all types of information on there. And the other thing I wanted to, and our website, excuse me, is www.foottitlegroup.com, and it's foot with an E on the end. You can also like our Facebook page, because there is lots of information on there that isn't always on my personal feed. So if you want to do that, that would be great. And I want to let you know about a exciting webinar we have coming up. February 15th is a Wednesday at 7 p.m. because I realize a lot of you have things going on in the evenings with kids, family, and trying to get everything done. And so we're doing it at 7 p.m. It's an interactive webinar. It is the 5 most common questions we get about closing and purchasing a home and selling a home. So if you have any of that information, need any of that information, you're thinking about buying or selling, you know somebody who is, please be on the lookout both on our Facebook page, on our Twitter feed, on Instagram, and all of those social media channels that we are on. Also on our website, there's a link, and if you get our emails, you'll be getting an email probably later today to sign up. There's a very limited amount of space, so the sooner you sign up, the better. So we'd love to have you on February 15th at 7 p.m. We're going to be doing a live interactive webinar. So thank you guys so much for your time. Hopefully I helped you with a little bit of information, or at least made you think about something that may be affecting you, to ask some questions. Always feel free to reach out and ask questions to me. Any of our team is well versed in Maryland and Virginia, can help you in any of those places, and would love to. So thank you so much for your time. You guys have an awesome day. I'm Connie Fuchsa with Foot Title Group, where we protect your home ownership. So take the time to make the choice of who does your home closing, because as the buyer, you have the legal right to do that. Thanks for your time, guys. Have a great day.